Students of African history here at LCSC. Welcome to week 3. All right, so what you're supposed to be doing is located right here. You guys go to this modules thing, click on the week. It'll tell you what to do. Here's a setup for it. I just finished getting things set up for week 4 and 5, so that's no longer a draft. I'll get that together in a minute. But week 3 is here. Let me talk a little bit. So this is not really a what to do. This is more of a what you've done so far. This is going to be a little shorter, I think. What we've done so far. Last week, since I saw you left, we talked a little bit about Africa's caravan of gold and really going through the discussion. So let me talk a little bit about these discussions, right? I'm pretty happy with what's going on with the discussions, with a couple of exceptions, and we'll get it straightened out, right? First, let me say, grade-wise, don't panic. Let me talk about the grade situation for just a minute, all right? I do not use some kind of a point system where there's, 1,122 points in the class. Maybe I should. I probably should. But I use an old school, this is right off your syllabus, 20% class participation. Now this African food thing here, we'll change that. We'll just include that in the participation. Different projects are worth different percentage points. Okay? That's how this works. And your class participation is a big part of it. If you've ever, it's a huge part to me, just that you're engaged, right? And so, do not stress over what Canvas tells you your grade is. Canvas, I wish I could turn it off. Canvas cannot tell you what your overall grade is in this class. If you're the kind of person that's going to stress out about that, just pop into my virtual office hours and let's have a chat about it. Don't do it through the email, because then it just becomes too easy for people to 3 times a week ask me about their grade. Pop into virtual office hours. We can chat about it so you can be assured where your grade's at. But here's the deal. If you have never received lower than 85% on any assignment, how could you be failing? Now, here's the other thing that freaked a lot of people out last week. I have a coding system, so I understand what's happening on the discussion boards. And the way that it works is that, your papers, the primary source analysis or whatever, are usually laid out as a 100, right? So that I know that's a paper. And your discussion posts are laid out as 10s. All right, so when I look at the grade book, I know immediately what's discussions and what's not. The deal is, we tried to break some discussions up, right? So that only if your last name began with an A through a D, were you required to participate. So if your last name began with an A through a D, you got a 1 through 10 grade on that. Okay? Again, the points, it doesn't mean that it's less than 100. it works into your class participation, and if you got a 10, it's like 100% participation on that full credit, whatever that is. Okay? So what if your name didn't begin with A through D and you participated? Well, I've got a system for that too. And I gave you a 1 with a little point something after it. And that made a lot of y'all think that you failed, right? You didn't fail. It's just a coding system, all right? You didn't have to participate. And if you got any amount of points on the extra credit, that's a good thing, okay? So, and if you didn't get any extra points on the extra credit, it's fine. It's just like, when the way that Canvas works, it's 10 points, but they only got 1. Then it says, oh, I'm going to reduce your grade. Ignore it. I know. It's not easy to do. But just participate. Just know it makes absolute no sense that you would participate in something, that you would put effort into something, and you would get a measly 1 point. It's a coding system to let me know you did the extra credit. Okay? And if you can help me figure out a way to make Canvas understand all this without getting into a different world of work where I'm always putting people into all kinds of different groups, let me know. All right, this is how I would do it in a grade book in the olden days before you guys got to see it all the time. So I've just kind of carried this over to now. Again, maybe I should update it, but I'm not updating it in the middle of the semester. But I also want you to know, as far as I'm concerned, things look good. All right? Nobody freak out. All right? Nobody freak out. Don't panic. Carry a towel. Okay. The other thing I want to talk about real briefly related to your discussions. There seems to have been a little bit of confusion, right, on how I wanted them done. Although I'm not really sure how there could be, because I tried to make it pretty clear that, for example, if your last name began with the letters E through P, that you needed to have a posting up by the end of the day on Thursday, January 25th, to get things kicked off. You're the discussion leader. You got to get it moving. The discussion ends on Saturday, January the 27th, right? That's the end of the day. But I realize that if you go to the course syllabus, to this outline part, it tells you that the discussion, is due Saturday, January 27th, and it doesn't say anything about it having that second part of it that was due on the Thursday. So you guys just be careful about that, all right? That's the way. And we only have a couple of more of these, I think. But for more, for the other Basil Davidson ones, we're going to try this and just see how it works. I'm really happy with the way the discussion's going. All right, speaking of the discussion, the last time we talked a little bit about the discussion in video 3. I'm going to talk for just a second about the caravans of gold and what's happening in that. What is the main point in terms of connecting it, the thesis connecting into Basil Davidson's sub-thesis. You guys did a really great job of examining that, right? But a big part of it is laying out that in the medieval period, West Africa, East Africa, North Africa were all part of the global system of trade, and they were interconnected. And religion, Islam in particular, is moving on these trade routes. Gold is moving on these trade routes. Salt is moving on these trade routes. Um, Chinese porcelain is moving on those trade routes out of East Africa. So that in the medieval period, Africans are connected through long distance trade. West Africans are connected through long distance trade. Cairo is like the biggest city on the planet, connected through long distance trade. The East Africa, long distance trade. And so, really, just in some ways, Basil Davidson is making this argument, right? Africans have a history of their own. That's the main thesis. But so far in the video series, he's almost been purposefully paralleling exactly what you would get in a world history course, right? Oh, the development of agriculture, domestication of animals, development of iron tools, um, Egypt, ancient cities, ancient powerhouses, medieval trade routes, long distance trade. It's like Africans have a history of their own, and it should sound semi familiar. Um, and then this next set of episodes, he goes into some details about what some of the medieval African kingdoms and political states look like. I probably should have had the big camera on the whole time, but that's the way it is. All right, that's good enough for today. I don't know if I'm going to send one of these videos out twice a week, but it seemed like the thing to do for the first couple of weeks as we get into things. Look, I'm sorry about the confusion on some of the grading. Again, don't think twice. Just contact me. I can assure you that all is well. We're all here to learn history. We're all here to, have fun while we do it. We don't need a whole bunch of stress. I realize that, when Canvas is telling you, your grade is suboptimal, it makes you freak out. Drop by the office hours. We'll fix it up. Okay, that's the deal. And otherwise, enjoy your historical studies.